rather interesting piece of mail just arrived. It's from Viking Cruises. I wonder what this could be. Our luggage tags for our upcoming cruise. Yes, and our bag tags for the cruise as well. And some nice little stickers that I could put on things. I put on my shirt at the airport upon arrival, so they know who I am. It's exciting. The cruise is coming up. We'll be there in a very short period of time. Hello and welcome. If you've seen any of our previous videos, thanks for watching and welcome back. If you're new to our videos, thanks for dropping in. On this trip, we checked off our 7th continent, along with our 56th and 57th countries.
This was a trip we had planned for several years, but political unrest and then COVID resulted in several cancellations. Finally, the stars aligned and Viking Cruises came through for a fantastic trip.
This was a land and river cruise through the Nile Valley of Egypt, plus a land excursion to Jordan.
As I mentioned, we were traveling on Viking Cruises. It's our first Viking cruise and we picked this particular one for the itinerary. It was like any other trip we've taken before. It was loaded with days immersed in Egyptian history and current culture.
And so with that said, let's get to it.
As with all our trips, this one started with the usual. Plan it, pack it, and stop the mail. Then take Cinder the Wonder Cat over to our daughter Lindsay's house, aka Camp Kitty. Finally, get to the airport, Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International. Continue?
Yeah. It started slowly as we finished preparations and headed over to Lindsay's house with Cinder. Poor Cinder was very upset during the car ride. Just as we pulled into the driveway, Cinder managed to get sick, but once inside, she settled right in.
For once, we had no problems getting to the airport, clearing security, and getting to the gate. Once there, we just had to wait to board.
The flight was full, but departed on time. Barb and I both managed to get some sleep on the flight to Rome. Once again, everything goes smoothly, and we had a nice 3-hour layover. Time to brush our teeth and stretch our legs.
And check the flight board for our departure gate.
Looks like we need to get to E31.
Boarding our flight to Cairo, we settled in for a 3-hour flight. We flew over the Mediterranean, parts of Greece, and finally we touched down in Egypt, our last continent on the bucket list.
Here's a pro tip. At the Cairo terminal, baggage carts are adjacent to Bag Carousel 2. They are free and they go fast. Meeting us at the airport was the Viking representative, George, not his real name. Very friendly and professional.
The Viking representative made customs and exiting the airport smooth. As we exit customs, there is a line of people waiting to face the gauntlet of baggage handlers. With George, a Viking rep, we breezed past it.
Our hotel, the Sheraton owned by Marriott, is beautiful.
Our room overlooks the Nile and Cairo's waterfront. The city is big, lots of tall sand and brown concrete buildings. On the opposite side of our balcony, we can see the Great Pyramids on the horizon. It's hard to believe we're here.
We stayed in, had dinner at Gianni's at the hotel, and sampled some of Egypt's red wine. We are feeling the hours of travel. Tomorrow starts at 6 a.m. in the morning.
It's a great pleasure to welcome you here.
The day starts at 6 a.m. for an early breakfast, followed by an 8 a.m. meeting.
Quickly, let's meet our program directors for Egypt. Hani on Bus A and Ahmed on Bus B. Our first stop is the Saladin Citadel and Muhammad Ali Mosque. No, not the boxer, the Prophet. The Citadel is a medieval Islamic-era fortification built by Saladin starting in 1176 and further developed by subsequent Egyptian rulers. It was the seat of government in Egypt and the residence of its rulers for nearly 700 years.
Saladin built the citadel as protection from the threat of the Crusaders. Its position on a hilltop overlooking the city gave it a strategic advantage.
The Mosque of Muhammad Ali is situated on a high point of the citadel, overlooking Cairo. It was built between 1832 and 1857.
Egypt is more liberal when it comes to religious sites. Women did not need to cover their heads to enter the mosque, and instead of removing our shoes, we were only required to cover them.
The courtyard of the mosque has a large ornate fountain for the ritual cleaning.
The Cairo Citadel clock, pictured here, is a 19th century French clock tower situated at the Cairo Citadel. Manufactured in 1846, it was Egypt's first public ticking clock. Ahmed, our program director, pointed out that the point from where the central chandelier is suspended has a six-pointed star. The six-pointed star was a common motif used in Islamic decorations up to 1948, when Israel adopted it as the Star of David.
Our next stop is the Egyptian Museum, which houses over 120,000 artifacts but can only display about 12,000. The building was built in 1901 in a neoclassical style.
Soon it will be overshadowed by the massive new Grand Egyptian Museum. But for now, the Egyptian Museum still has, drumroll please, King Tut artifacts, including the gold death mask and gold jewelry.
It also displays the three coffins which house the mummy of the king. The two outermost were gold-plated wood coffins. The innermost was solid gold. Simply fantastic.
In addition, the museum has numerous displays of statuary of wealthy and powerful people. The attention to detail is phenomenal. This fellow is carrying his brightly colored lunch basket while wearing his backpack. What looks like a small rug hangs on the backpack. Statuary played an important part in ancient Egyptian daily life. Here, the father with arms crossed is protecting his children. His wife embraces her husband.
Statuary also depicted daily life. This woman in a colorful woven dress carries food and drink on her head. This remarkable piece is over 3,000 years old.
Daily life is often depicted on the sarcophagus. Statues of the dead were a way for the Ka, or spirit, to connect to the living.
Again, the Ka is protecting this person's daughters. Notice their hands holding onto his legs.
And in front of the museum, a prominent monument to Egyptology.
Welcome to the souk. As we walk, we need to explain two things.
First, a souk is an Arab market or marketplace. In the West, we often call it a bazaar. You generally find everything from inexpensive tourist items to high-end gold and silver. The assortment of items is truly amazing. It's also dotted with restaurants and in certain countries, bars.
Second, it's Ramadan month, the holiest of months in the Islamic calendar. Ramadan is a month of worship, study of the Quran, prayer, and fasting. Ramadan occurs during the month in which Muslims believe the Quran began to be revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. It is a joyous celebration for Muslims, and fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam.
Which means, during this time, the fast is from sunup to sunset, from 4:15 a.m. to 6:15 p.m. During the fast, Muslims are not allowed any food or drink, including water. Of course, there are some exceptions for pregnant women, the sick, and elderly.
Our program directors, Hani and Ahmed, must talk and work all day in the heat and not drink any water. Impressive. They may have been dying on the inside, however, they remain professional on the outside.
During Ramadan month, come sundown at 6:15 p.m. every day, the country cuts loose in a celebration of breaking the fast. It's common to see charitable acts of people providing food and drink to the poor.
As we walk through the souk towards the restaurant for dinner, there's a celebration going on everywhere.
We were in Istanbul a few years back for the end of Ramadan, so we've experienced it before. What a party.
And since the Islamic calendar is based off the lunar cycle, approximately 28 days, the holy month is different every year.
Tonight we're having a traditional dinner. The restaurant is on the top floor. With only a tiny elevator, it's a walk up the 5 floors to get to the top. You see more that way.
Yeah, you're right.
So is this your first Viking cruise or
After dinner, we begin to wander back to the meeting point for the bus to pick us up.
Vic and I break away from the main group and enjoy the sights, sounds, and smells of the souk on our own.
In the courtyard of the mosque, an outdoor evening prayer service is being conducted. What caught my eye was the production crew broadcasting it on TV.
Tomorrow is another early start. It's Pyramid and Sphinx Day. Can't wait to see it.
After breakfast, we get on the bus for the 45-minute ride out to Saqqara. We will only have 2 chances to enter a pyramid, and this is the first.
We descend a 60-foot shaft that is approximately 4 feet wide by 4 feet high. Inside there are several chambers. On the walls are carved hieroglyphics that tell who he was.
This is really cool. We're in the pyramid of Titi, an Old Kingdom king who died in 2333 BC. The Old Kingdom is also called the Age of the Pyramids.
During this time, the Egyptian rulers were called kings. The term pharaoh doesn't become stylized until the New Kingdom, some 750 years hence. Saqqara was not only a royal necropolis, state dignitaries and other important personalities were also buried here.
One of the tombs, called a mastaba, is that of Gegemini, Titi's vizier and minister of justice. It dates to 2340 BC. This beautiful ancient tomb, located near Titi's pyramid, has a labyrinth of rooms.
The walls were originally fully covered in plaster and then carved and painted. It's amazing to see the colors after 4,000 years.
Depicted on the walls are scenes of everyday lives of ancient Egyptians.
A short drive away is a vast mortuary complex of the Old Kingdom. We enter through the large doorway and down the entry corridor of ancient columns.
We exit into an enormous courtyard dominated by the Pyramid of Djoser, also known as the Step Pyramid. It's widely considered to be the oldest of the pyramids.
There is a temple wall with stairs that leads us up to our view. As we ascend a stone stairway to the top of the wall, you can see in the distance the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid.
The Bent Pyramid was the first attempt at a smooth-sided structure. Midway through construction, the engineers determined the original angle was overloading the blocks. An adjustment in the angle was necessary. As we approach the Giza Plateau, you realize the enormous size of the Great Pyramid. It's huge, and from a distance, the side angles look smooth.
But the closer you get, you see it's more like a stair step of really big blocks of stone.
Egyptian? We look like Egyptian.
It's almost unimaginable that we are actually here and standing on the Great Pyramid, the last remaining wonder of the ancient world.
After the closeness of the passage to enter Titi's Pyramid, Vic and I both chickened out of entering the Great Pyramid. It's slightly smaller and considerably longer.
But we do have several in the group who pay the extra fee and climb up the path to enter the pyramid. And from the looks of the crowd, they will not be alone.
You see pictures and postcards, but it's difficult to fathom how truly immense in size they are. The mathematical, engineering, and construction genius used to erect these structures go way beyond impressive. The Great Pyramid was completed in just 20 years and all three in about 100. Seemingly, the number of vendors looking to sell you something almost outnumbered the tourists.
Camel rides, buggy rides, trinkets, offering to take your picture, offering to take their picture, offering to show you that special place to stand that only they know about, to see the best view, or to get that special picture. The list is endless.
We know they are just trying to support their families, but enough already.
Each pyramid was a tomb for a series of pharaohs, a father, a son, and a grandson, each bigger than the other, alongside of the queen's pyramids for the honored wives. Here Viking has arranged for camel rides.
Vic and I have already ridden a camel. Been there, done that.
From above you can see all three in the same alignment as Orion's belt, a prominent star alignment within the constellation Orion, the hunter.
It's all just simply incredible.
All this is over 4,600 years old.
Our last stop of the day is the Great Sphinx complex, adjacent to the pyramids.
The Great Sphinx of Giza is a limestone structure of a reclining sphinx, a mythical creature with the head of a human and the body of a lion. It looks to the east to witness the rising sun. The face of the Sphinx appears to represent the pharaoh Khafre.
It is massive in size and was originally carved from a single piece of limestone bedrock. Time has taken its toll on the Sphinx, and parts of it have been restored with limestone blocks.
It measures 240 feet long from paw to tail, 66 feet high from the base to the top of the head, and 62 feet wide across its rear haunches. The Sphinx is the oldest known monumental structure in Egypt and one of the most recognizable statues in the world.
Artists captured the face of the Sphinx with its missing nose long before Napoleon's troops came to Egypt. It appears that the nose was deliberately chiseled off long ago.
We arrived near the end of the day, and every tour group imaginable is there. A true madhouse.
Vic is fighting to get good shots of the Sphinx. He's one of the last ones to get back on the bus. A very early start to get to Luxor and a full day ahead of us. We exit the hotel, travel by bus to the airport, go through all the security, and board the CRJ-90 for the 8 a.m. charter flight to Luxor.
This is going to be another full day. After we land, we reclaim our bags. They are going to the ship. We are headed to Karnak after a short introductory film.
In the entrance hall to Karnak, they have a model of how the complex is laid out. This is a big complex.
Everything in Karnak is big. The entire complex is over 200 acres in size and was developed over 1,500 years.
The adjacent town of Luxor was the capital of Egypt several times over its history. Back then it was called Thebes.
The proximity to the capital made the temples of Karnak the most important religious sites in Egypt. The oldest construction dates to over 4,000 years ago.
These are some of over 100 such columns in this part of the complex. Each one is shaped like a papyrus plant with different capitals. They are all carved from the top to bottom and were brightly painted. The columns supported a stone roof.
The temple complex was not open to the public. It housed the priests, scribes, and others who performed the daily rituals. During festivals, royal family members and other VIPs were present.
The size of the complex is overwhelming. Vic and I break away from the group and just wonder. It's impressive now. It's hard to imagine what it looked like 3,000 years ago.
I discovered two interesting rooms, dark except for a small hole in the ceiling which lets in a single shaft of light. Back on the bus, and a quick stop to see the Avenue of the Sphinxes, a nearly 2-mile-long avenue of sphinxes between the temples of Karnak and Luxor. They number over 1,000 in total. Buried in the sand for thousands of years, it was discovered in the 1940s. We'll see the other end in Luxor.
We finally boarded the ship at 12:45. What a greeting. Our cabin is 209, middle of the ship. To say the cabin is nice is an understatement. Large, with a sofa and seating area, separate desk, and large bathroom. The color palette is a soft green and very soothing.
These river ships have French balconies, sliding doors that allow you to have a great view.
At 5:45 p.m., we board the bus one more time. We head to the other primary temple on the east bank of the Nile, Luxor Temple.
Earlier, we saw one end of the Avenue of the Sphinxes. Now we see the other, where it ends at the Temple of Luxor. The avenue was used for the Opet festival.
Luxor Temple is different than the nearby Karnak. It was started in approximately 1400 BC as part of the New Kingdom. Luxor is not dedicated to any god or pharaoh. It is more about rejuvenation, fertility, and rebirth of Amun-Re and Pharaoh. Amun-Re was the main deity of the ancient Egyptian in the New Kingdom. The pharaoh was believed to be a direct descendant.
This is our only opportunity to see a historical site lit at night.
I was reluctant to get on the bus after an already full day. I'm so glad I did. The Luxor Temple is beautiful, all lit up, and we get some fabulous pictures.
The Opet Festival was a major annual celebration in ancient Egypt, particularly during the New Kingdom and later periods. It was a significant religious event in Thebes, centered around the journey of the gods Amun, Mut, and Combs from their shrines at Karnak to the Temple of Luxor. The deities were carried in replica boats like what we've seen.
The sun is setting and gives Luxor a more mysterious look. Two giant statues of Ramses II flank the entrances, as well as an obelisk dedicated to him.
The sounds of the evening prayer from the nearby mosque echo through the temple. It's sunset. The break-fast celebrations are starting with candle-powered balloons and fireworks.
This is a ridiculously early start. Waking at 3:30 a.m. to depart at 4:30 a.m. And I can't even get a cup of coffee because our morning mode of transportation has no bathroom facilities.
We take the bus to a boat. The excursion is across the Nile. Everyone has a smile and is full of anticipation. Today is a balloon ride over the Nile Valley.
From the boat, we switch to several vans that whisk us through the empty streets to a field covered in hot air balloons, all in various stages of inflation.
To get one of these things ready to launch takes a well-coordinated team of people. Large fans used to blow the initial blast of air into the envelope, kick up a lot of dust.
It's a wild scene, maybe 40 to 50 balloons with crews of 20 or more, all shouting instructions. All the while, electric generators are running, the fans are raising a din, and propane burners are roaring to life.
It's a madhouse. Add in several hundred eager tourists, and it's just wild.
All the while, our handlers, as I'll call them, are herding us up to the balloons. We have more people than one basket can hold. A few of our group will need to ride in a different balloon.
Barb and I are with the main crowd in a nice green and yellow dream balloon. The gondolas are made to hold 28 people. On the inside, it's divided into small sections that hold 2 to 3 people.
There is no way to climb gracefully into a gondola. With the aid of our handlers, everyone is loaded in. All the while, the videographer and photographer have been filming and snapping away.
The burners heat the air in the balloon, and we slowly leave the ground. There is no sensation of movement whatsoever. After a minute or two, we are high enough that all the noise of the circus on the ground dissipates. The only sound is coming from us and the burner.
It's truly beautiful, quiet, peaceful. The sun is just above the horizon and is shrouded in the morning haze.
We drift over the temple of Ramses III, over Hatshepsut's temple, and the Valley of the Nobles. On the other side of the ridge is the Valley of the Kings, all of it sitting on the sands of the desert.
In contrast, the other side of the balloon overlooks the fertile green valley of the Nile River. At this altitude, you get a clear picture how the Nile carves a green ribbon of life out of the otherwise barren sands.
And it's been that way for thousands of years.
The sun is rising over the Nile, and the sky is filled with all different balloons. A beautiful sight.
Our movement and speed are totally at the mercy of the wind. Since we're moving with it, To us, there's no wind. Up and down are controlled by our pilot. This is our first time in a hot air balloon, and it's really neat. What scenery.
All good things must come to an end. We are headed down. They briefed us on what to do on the landing, but our pilot set us down so softly it was barely noticeable.
We managed to climb out of the gondola. Again, not so gracefully. We posed for a few snapshots and then off to the buses. We were back on board the ship in time for breakfast.
And coffee.
After being up at 3:30 a.m. this morning, it's good to have some downtime to rest and relax.
Enjoy it now because we have another excursion this afternoon. We're off at 2 p.m. to Dendera Temple. I hear it has the first known depiction of the zodiac calendar.
That's true. Too bad back in the good old days when anyone could take whatever they wanted from Egypt, the French took it. It's on display in the Louvre in Paris, but they have a replica.
Well, I'm going to take a nap, wake me for lunch, or if we hit an iceberg.
Okay, I'm just relaxing, watching Egypt go by. Dahabeyas are interesting. They too are cruise boats. They have no engines. Many years ago they were powered by sail. Nowadays they're just towed by a tugboat. We pass lots of small villages and towns. The minarets mark the sites of the mosque, and the loudspeakers call out the prayer time to the faithful. Barb's right. It's time for a nap.
This afternoon we are headed to the sprawling 10-acre Dendera Temple complex. Rows and rows of recovered artifacts are neatly laid out, awaiting restoration. We enter through the Roman-era gateway of Domitian and Hadrian. The entire complex is surrounded by a massive mud brick wall.
The main surviving structure of the site is the Temple of Hathor. The temple is renowned for its beautifully decorated ceilings, featuring intricate reliefs and astrological depictions.
Hathor was a prominent goddess in ancient Egyptian religion, known for her diverse roles including music, love, beauty, and motherhood. She was often depicted with a cow head or horns.
The temple was started in 54 BC while Egypt was under the control of the Greeks. Later, when the Romans controlled Egypt, additions were made to it. However, like almost all major temples of the Egyptians, the entire complex dates back several thousand years. Some structures on the site have been dated to 2250 BC.
The walls and especially the ceilings are covered in colorful hieroglyphics, depictions of goddesses representing motherhood, protection of the living, and souls of the dead covering the ceiling. Since the temple is not dedicated to any king or ruler, but rather a goddess, there is a full dose of mythology on display.
There are neat depictions of the 14 phases of the moon that make up the 28-day Egyptian calendar. The all-seeing eye of Horus, representing healing, restoration, and also protection, is displayed. Horus is the husband of Hathor. And in Egyptian mythology, Hathor plays some role in the restoration of Horus's eye, although Thoth is mostly credited with it.
And the recently cleaned ceilings display the beautiful blue colors. A small square was left soot-covered to show before and after cleaning.
A week in Egypt fell to Alexander the Great in 332 BC. Egypt fell under Roman control in 30 BC. Eventually, Christianity replaced what they called the pagan gods of Egypt. Most former temples became Christian sites. The Christian tried to erase the images of the pagan gods.
That's why you see so many of the engravings being defaced.
On the roof of the temple is a small, poorly lit chapel. This is where, in 1799, the Dendera zodiac was discovered.
The zodiac is a round disk or sky map of the stars, showing the 12 constellations of the zodiac. It's the earliest known depiction of the zodiac symbol. While the inside of the temple is dedicated to the gods, the outside is decorated with reliefs of the pharaohs.
A wee bit of propaganda.
To round off a very busy day, before dinner, Captain Saeed and hotel manager Peter present their staff and offer us a welcome toast.
Outside of your staterooms, they wake up earlier than we do. They go to bed later.
Overnight, the Viking Antares has sailed south back to Luxor.
It's an 8 a.m. start. Everyone grabs breakfast and jumps on the bus. We're off to the Valley of the King.
Ahmed explains the ground rules. He'll give us 3 tickets. A general ticket good to enter 3 different tombs, a ticket to enter Tut's tomb, and a 3rd ticket for the tomb of Seti I.
We need to be sure to hand the official at the tomb entrance the correct ticket. Otherwise, we may not get to see all we paid for.
First up is Tut's tomb. He was 9 years old when he became pharaoh and died 10 years later at 19. His tomb is small by royal standards, not well adorned and poorly prepared.
But talk about hospitality. Tut himself is on hand to meet you at the door. Tut's mummy is on display there, the only mummy on display in the Valley of the Kings.
The back wall of the main burial chamber tells a quick story of Tut's afterlife. The first scene, going right to left, Tutankhamun is shown as a mummy in white. His successor, King Ai, performs the opening of the mouth ceremony. This allows his spirit or Ka to speak in the afterlife.
In the central panel, Tutankhamun, on the right, is greeted by the goddess Nut, a highly significant goddess. Nut is the goddess of the sky.
In the third panel, Tutankhamun is shown being embraced by the god Osiris in white with a green face, and welcomed into the afterlife, whilst the young king is supported by his Ka, or spirit form.
Another wall depicts 12 baboons, which symbolizes the 12 hours of night the pharaoh had to traverse in the underworld before reaching the afterlife.
Next up is Seti I.
This tomb is huge. Seti I's tomb is almost 1,000 feet long and over 300 feet deep.
And every square inch is either a painting or a relief, floor to ceiling. Contrast the size, level of detail, and the preciseness of the painting and carving to what we just witnessed in Tut's tomb.
Just being here and seeing it in person was incredible. Pictures don't give you the sense of the size of the tomb, nor does it convey how much time and effort went into them.
And remember, we're not sure how they lit their work area. Some say they used copper discs as mirrors to shine light down the corridor. But there's no way here. Too big, too deep.
And there is absolutely no sign of soot or smoke on the ceilings. Whatever they burned for light, it was smokeless.
Next was Hatshepsut's tomb, so far the only tomb of the 3 known female pharaohs. Her burial chamber is at the end of a very long and elaborately decorated hallway with several anterooms. This is deep in the mountain, really, really deep.
They have discovered over 60 tombs in the Valley of the Kings. They suspect there are still many more to discover, given the time period from the first use till the end of the pharaohs.
We visited 4 during our excursion here today. For me, the experience is indescribable. There's a Valley of Queens, but it's closed. The tombs are smaller, and the human effect on them has been damaging.
Next up, the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut was a female pharaoh who reigned from 1479 to 1458 BC.
She commissioned this temple to herself as a show of power and wealth. Its 3 massive terraces rise above the desert floor and into the cliffs, opposite of Luxor. Its orientation faces towards Karnak.
Mortuary temples are where faithful servants and family members would perform the daily rituals to support the deceased pharaoh in the afterlife.
Hatshepsut Sanctuary also housed the bark or boat of Amun-Ra. The bark was used annually during the Opet festival.
Closing out the excursion today is a stop at the home of Howard Carter. Carter was a British archaeologist and Egyptologist who discovered the intact tomb of King Tut in November 1922, the best preserved pharaonic tomb ever found in the Valley of the Kings.
Carter was well established in Egypt, having worked in several official government roles prior to World War I, including doing work for Lord Carnarvon.
Lord Carnarvon's English manor home is Highclere Castle, known to PBS TV fans as Downton Abbey.
After the war, Carter received a commission to dig in the Valley of the Kings. Carter convinced Lord Carnarvon to finance the operation.
Carnarvon financed the expedition over 3 seasons, which meant 5 years. This house is where Carter lived and worked during the excavation and recovery.
After dinner, we are treated to a local performance of the whirling dervish. The whirling is based on a religious practice of an Islamic sect founded in Persia in the 13th century.
This sect believes the core principle of Islam is love. The whirling represents the soul's spiritual journey towards God's.
Colorful guy. This morning we're in Esna, a city south of Luxor on the west bank of the Nile. We have our choice of 2 excursions. Some of us are going to see the temple of Khnum.
And some of us are going shopping.
Khnum was believed to be the creator of humankind, shaping them from clay on his potter's wheel. This temple served as a center for rituals honoring Khnum and his role in the creation and rejuvenation of life. To get to the temple, we descend a long staircase. The level of the land was built up over time. The temple sits about 30 feet below the level of the city. The water table from the nearby Nile is slowly dissolving the sandstone foundation, and water is constantly being pumped away. Additionally, cleaning and restoration work continue on the temple exterior. Sometime after Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, construction of this temple commenced between 305 and 30 BC. The majority of what survives today was erected during the Roman time. The temple depicts the recreation of life. The summer floods would inundate the temple. The columns represent plants, sprouting and growing in the floodwaters and the fertile soil they bring. The entire cycle of life is represented in this temple. As usual, the interior of the temple is dedicated to the gods. Priests would tend to the gods with daily offerings. Pharaohs, priests, and other important people would attend rituals in the temple. But outside on the walls, depictions of the glorious victories of the pharaohs and the gods with the pharaohs were carved in stone for all to see. Here Pharaoh, along with Sekhmet, Pharaoh's protector god, and Kharnum, are destroying the enemies of Egypt. Their severed hands attest to Pharaoh's power. This depiction is on two sides of the temple. On the way back to the ship, I braved the bazaar by myself. Tonight on board is the Galabeya party night, and I wanted to join in the fun.
A galabeya is a traditional loose-fitting garment from the Nile Valley, particularly associated with Egypt and Sudan. I brought one from home.
It's worn by both men and women.
They are not required for the party. A Nubian group provided the evening entertainment. Of course, I joined into the audience participation part.
Tonight might be the end of Ramadan. Party like it is. The Aswan Dam, or Aswan High Dam as it's known, is one of the world's largest embankment dams, which was built across the Nile in Aswan, Egypt, between 1960 and 1970. When completed, for the first time in history, Egyptians had control over the Nile River flooding.
Being an embankment dam, there's not a lot to look at. On one side of the embankment, you have the continuation of the Nile River.
And on the other side, you have Lake Nasser. The importance of the dam to Egypt cannot be overstated. That's why the Egyptian military heavily guards it.
It's just not a photogenic area.
All right, enough of this dam talk. Let's move on.
Not so fast. We need to talk about Lake Nasser and the effect it had upon an ancient temple.
You're talking about Abu Simbel.
That's right. An optional excursion on this cruise was a side trip to Abu Simbel. It's a village about 140 miles from Aswan. We didn't take that excursion, but others on the cruise did.
The four 66-foot-tall statues at the entrance are of Ramses II, seated, wearing the double crown of Egypt. During the construction of the Aswan High Dam, it was determined that two temple complexes near Abu Simbel would be inundated by Lake Nasser.
Now that's a big lake, 140 miles.
Two massive rock-cut temples were originally carved out of the mountainside in the 13th century BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II.
The complex was relocated in its entirety in 1968 to higher ground to avoid it being submerged by Lake Nasser.
A feat worthy of the ancient Egyptians themselves.
Except they used heavy machinery.
A minor detail.
About 100 yards to the northeast is the Temple of Hathor and Nefertari. Hathor, the goddess of love and beauty, we've already talked about. The Queen Nefertari is the chief consort of Ramses II. This was only the second time in ancient Egyptian history that a temple was dedicated to a queen.
Meanwhile, while they were in Abu Simbel, we were strolling a rather empty shopping bazaar.
With the expectation of the end of Ramadan, a lot of the Egyptians have headed away on holiday. Nothing exciting, but I did a little haggling, and a woven floor rug for Lindsay is coming home with us. I love to haggle.
After that, it was time for a nice relaxing sail on a felucca, a traditional wooden sailboat commonly used on the Nile.
This is the narrowest and shallow point of the river, otherwise known as the first cataract of the Nile.
On the bluff overlooking this part of the cataract is the old Cataract Hotel. We get a spectacular view of it from the felucca. Built in 1899 during the British colonial era by Thomas Cook, it has seen a who's who's list of distinguished visitors.
In 1936, Agatha Christie wrote her classic detective fiction novel, Death on the Nile, while staying in the Grand Suite overlooking the cataract. Later this afternoon, we are coming back here to have tea at the hotel.
But for now, it's back to the ship for lunch and some relaxation.
Later that afternoon, we are on the go again. We board the small motorboats and head for Kitchener's Island, home of the Aswan Botanical Garden.
Kitchener's Island is a small oval-shaped island in the Aswan archipelago of the Nile. The island was given to Lord Kitchener as a thank you for his services in the Sudan campaign, 1896 to 1898. With the aid of the Ministry of Irrigation, Kitchener rapidly transformed the small island into a paradise of exotic trees and plants and carefully planned walkways. That legacy is now the Aswan Botanical Garden.
As sure as the sun rises in the east, if a tourist visits somewhere, you will find vendors.
In somewhat of a twist, this time it's antiques. At least I think they are.
Back on the boats, we explore more of the cataract. The contrast between the shorelines is remarkable.
One shore is the very large and busy city of Aswan.
The other shore is sand dunes and desert.
Ahmed points out the high sand dunes. If this were summertime, we would see dozens of sand surfers on the dunes.
We weave in and out of the rock formations of the cataract. The swiftness of the current indicates a shallow bottom.
The shoreline is dotted with houses and small Nubian villages. We visit a Nubian house tomorrow.
Finally, the old cataract comes into view. We are here for a tour and tea.
The hotel is a beautiful testament to a bygone era of British colonial rule. The hotel has been restored to its once grand state.
Ahmed knows a guy who lets us explore the original palace and the 1902 restaurant. As the name implies, the restaurant was added in 1902.
This original part of the hotel still has the original lift. It has been restored and works perfectly.
Ahmed knows another guy who gets us into the Agatha Christie suite.
Ahmed sure has a lot of contacts.
That's why he's the best.
Agatha Christie stayed here in the old cataract for over a year while writing Death on the Nile. The suite is big and spacious.
And has the $1 million view of the Nile.
That's the real Quran, like the 1800s. And that's the real many more back there.
After the special insiders tour, thanks to Ahmed and his guys, we enjoy a lovely afternoon tea out by the pool. You would think we would be used to 8 a.m. excursion times by now, but we're not. Up at 7, grab some breakfast, be on the go by 8,
Today will be hot. The forecast calls for 110 degrees.
That's why we are out of here at 8 a.m. This afternoon will be toasty.
But for now, the breeze from the boat is really nice.
We cruise some more of the western shore of the Nile, opposite Aswan. Fantastic scenery.
We are invited to a typical Nubian family dwelling. Ahmed has been giving us the lowdown on the visit.
Nubians in Egypt are culturally and ethnically different from other Egyptians. They speak their own language. Nubians are also darker skinned than other Egyptians.
The dwellings are brightly and ornately painted, a trademark of the Nubians. From the outside, you would never think that the inside would be configured like it is.
The structure is centered around an open-air atrium, with all rooms opening onto the courtyard. All the floors on the first level are sand. Multiple families and generations live together in a communal arrangement. Multi-family and multi-generational homes are very traditional in Egypt.
By far, the most unusual feature are the crocodile pits. Ahmed had briefed us that Nubians often keep crocodiles as pets. I wasn't expecting something this big.
You can feed him, just hold out your finger.
When the Aswan High Dam was built, it impacted the crocodile population in the nearby cataract of the Nile. They are all but gone in the wild, but their numbers are recovering. They have made Lake Nasser their new home.
This family couldn't have been more friendly, but it was a bit of a clash of the cultures. The universal gesture of extending one's palm was in play here too.
We don't begrudge anyone for making a living. However, Viking has paid this family for their hospitality, I'm sure.
But as is the custom with tourists, asking for cash for small favors, like taking pictures together or even using the bathroom, just seems a bit much.
I got away with a free trip to the bathroom, but ended up giving $1 to take a picture of a camel.
Lucky you.
Overall, it's an interesting experience. While not palatial, it does have many of the convenience items that you would see in any house in the West.
I wonder how many people live here.
A lot. It's 3 stories high. On the way out, I get a snap of the family camel, parked outside the door.
Given the aroma, I'd park it further away.
Back on the boats, we head to our next stop, the Philae Temple complex located on an island. Originally located on a different island, the complex was often flooded after the construction of the Aswan Low Dam.
But with the construction of the Aswan High Dam, it would likely be lost. The solution was to move the 95 monumental structures to higher ground.
The temple is for Isis, a major goddess in ancient Egyptian religion, whose worship spread throughout the Greco-Roman world.
She was believed to help the dead enter the afterlife and is believed to be the divine mother of the pharaohs.
It's miserably hot today, and being next to the Nile means it's humid as well. After our visit, we take the boats back across the river to the awaiting buses. Our last stop this morning is the Papyrus Institute for a quick tutorial.
Vic and I already have several framed papyrus pictures back home, but we were interested to see the process of how papyrus is made.
Papyrus was truly a great innovation. Invented in ancient Egypt around 3000 BC, it was a writing material made from the papyrus plant, which grows along the Nile River. It was a more durable and flexible writing surface than clay tablets.
The reeds are soaked in water to soften them. Then the green outer part is stripped off. That part was used to weave baskets and even boats.
The inner pulp is cut into thin slices and rolled to flatten them out. Then, they are put back into the plain water. The longer these strips soak in the water, the darker they get.
After a few days of soaking, the strips are removed, placed on a drying mat, arranged in a weave pattern, overlapping the edges, and then put into a press for 12 days. In ancient times, heavy stones were used for this part.
Each day the drying mats are replaced with dry ones to absorb the water and dry the papyrus.
After 12 days, the papyrus is dry and stuck together, ready to use. No glue is used, simple and effective.
The end product is a durable, flexible, paper-like surface.
The walls are covered with items for sale. Everything in the Institute is hand-drawn and hand-colored.
Back on the boat, there's a prompt sail away, heading to Kam Obo. The scenes of everyday life along the river are mesmerizing.
We have one more stop this afternoon. We will visit the temple complex of Kam Obo. The heat and pace of the last few days has me a bit tired. Vic will go this one alone while I catch up on some rest.
The Temple of Kam Obo is an unusual double temple in the town of Kam Obo. It was constructed during the Ptolemaic dynasty, 180 to 47 BC. On the way in, a number of school children are lining the sidewalk above us. Ahmed mentioned that we may encounter children who are on school trips. They may be from small villages and have not encountered Westerners before. The building is unique because its double design meant that everything was duplicated for two sets of gods. The southern half of the temple was dedicated to the crocodile god Sobek, god of fertility and the creator of the world with Hathor and Khonsu. Over 300 crocodile mummies have been discovered in and around the area. Some of them are on display in the nearby museum. The northern part of the temple was dedicated to the falcon god Horus the Elder. This is the later form of Horus after the battle with Seth. This has been the hottest day we've encountered. It's also the windiest, as you might hear on the audio. And it's not a cool breeze coming off the desert either. Kam Obo also has a surviving Nilometer, a means, in this case a shaft, that was used by the priests to measure the height and clarity of the Nile River. It helped track the annual flooding period of the Nile. Checking the river level and charting it was a daily duty for a priest serving in the temple.
With everyone back on board, the Antares cast lines and heads toward Edfu. Dinner time was interrupted by a sandstorm.
It became very dark and windy. For safety reasons, the captain decided to stop and wait out the storm. It didn't last too long, and soon we're back underway, just in time for dessert. The sun rises on our last full day on the ship. Bus B, the cool kids bus, is loaded and ready to go at 9 a.m. sharp. Walking up to this monumental gateway, or pylon in Egyptian architecture, it looks more like a movie set out of some great epic film like Cleopatra.
Interesting that you mention her name. She became Queen of Egypt less than 10 years after the completion of the Edfu Temple. But you're right, it is massive and impressive.
Edfu is said to be one of the best preserved temples in Egypt. It was constructed between 237 to 57 BC during the Ptolemaic Kingdom. Edfu was one of several temples built during this time, including the Dendera Temple Complex, Ensa, and the Temple of Kam Obo, all temples we've seen this week.
Edfu was built to honor the god Horus, the falcon god.
The Temple of Edfu was the center of several festivals sacred to Horus. Each year, Hathor traveled south from her temple at Dendera to visit Horus at Edfu. This event marked their sacred marriage and was the occasion of a great festival and pilgrimage.
The Temple of Edfu houses a replica of the sacred bark of Horus, a miniature boat-like shrine that was used to transport a statue of the falcon-headed god Horus during religious festivals. The bark is located within the inner sanctuary of the temple, the most sacred part.
One of the most amazing things about this and the other temples is all the carvings. They are everywhere, on all the walls and even the ceilings, and they all tell a narrative story of the gods and of the pharaohs.
And they're all so sharp and crisp, uniform in height and in straight level rows. Some are gigantic.
Just the sheer number of artisans needed to accomplish all of the decorations everywhere is mind-boggling.
And this went on for several thousand years. I doubt if there is anything even remotely close to this anywhere.
Back on board the ship, we set about the task of packing to leave.
As we do, just incredible views of the Nile and the various scenes of life pass by our cabin balcony.
The river seems to constantly change. One minute it's wide, the next we glide close by small islands.
Hello.
And the next, it could be a large city or a small village, or even children swimming and playing in the water.
We did see a bunch of banana farms.
Bad pun.
No, a dad joke. How about a pack of camels?
Enough.
While sitting on deck, we did notice the crew lowering the awnings. Something's up.
It's just low. You guys might want to duck your heads. Yeah, you might want to duck. You might want to duck.
Low bridge ahead, keep your heads down.
Let's hope that's the only one of those.
That was fun.
Up ahead I see the old Aswan Dam and lock off to the left. While we wait, we are bombarded, literally, by vendors in small boats alongside. Besides the small boats, there are vendors on the walls of the old lock.
They literally throw the merchandise in a waterproof bag onto the ship. You either throw it back or put your money in the bag and throw it down. It's first come, first served as far as passage through the lock. We need to wait our turn.
When it gets to be our turn in the locks, we get aligned and creep slowly in. The lock is big enough for 2 boats at a time.
Once safely in, they close the lock doors and start to release the water and lower us down. Downstairs, there's a briefing for those of us going on to Jordan at the end of the cruise. Vic and I, plus 14 others, booked that extension.
That trip will be covered in a separate video. If you're interested, look for that trip on my YouTube page.
We're all packed. Peter, the hotel manager, is hosting a farewell cocktail party in the lounge. Tonight we say goodbye to the ship and crew.
Debarkation day. Breakfast at 6 a.m., bags outside of the room by 7:15, and off the ship by 7:45. We run the gauntlet back to the airport for the hour flight back to Cairo.
After landing, we sort out the bags. They are going to the hotel.
We are headed for the Grand Egyptian Museum, or GEM for short, brand new, not fully open yet.
But we get to go to the soft opening.
This place is really, really big. Here in the entry hall is the statue of Ramses II. It's 36 feet tall, or 11 meters, and weighs 83 tons.
The grand staircase is a wide incline display space. The escalator carries us up past collections of artifacts from all ages of the Egyptian history.
Once at the top, there are many galleries to explore. When fully open, the museum will display over 100,000 items, a massive collection.
One other neat thing about the gem is its location. It is in Giza, next door to the Great Pyramid. In fact, a walkway is under construction that will allow for people to walk between the two sites.
The museum has a window set in such a way so photographs of the pyramids can be taken without reflection or glare.
Ahmed was doing a running commentary about artifacts in the museum using the radio transmitters. Vic and I stayed with the group for a long time.
But we were really reaching information overload. We finally take out our earpieces and just wander through the galleries.
This place is spectacular and currently has 15,000 artifacts on display. When fully open later this year, there will be 100,000 artifacts with a special museum for King Tut.
The current Tut items on display at the Egyptian Museum are being moved to the gem.
We begin to wind down our visit and make our way back to the grand staircase. The grand staircase display represents the cycle of life, death, and the afterlife.
The staircase is very dramatic. The escalator up belies how there are constant changes in elevations and step sizes and shape. With the artifacts being lit up, sometimes it's hard to tell where to step.
Time to head to the Intercontinental Hotel. Our last dinner as a group is tonight, an early night tonight as we leave for Petra at 3 a.m.
For Barb and I, the Egypt portion of this trip has come to an end. We, along with 14 others, booked a 4-day extension with Viking that will take us on to Jordan in the morning.
We had a great time and met what I hope are some lifelong friends. Vic and I have done a fair amount of cruising, but this was by far the smallest ship we've ever sailed.
First Viking cruise and the first river cruise, too.
We've come away from this cruise with a list of contacts, and that too is a first. But as we say goodbye to this tribe of travelers, a new tribe will form tomorrow. We already know almost all of them.
If you like this video, please hit the like button down below and leave us a comment or question if you have one. We would love to hear from you and will respond as quickly as possible. Additionally, hit the subscribe and bell buttons below to get notifications about new adventures on this channel. Thanks once again for watching. We have more adventures coming up, so stay tuned.